Hello everyone. Last time, if you remember, we talked about CSS more. Right? We talked about inline CSS, external CSS, those things. But now, today, our focus will be more on JavaScript. Okay, what it is, how it will work, and everything. Um, Now, let's understand first why learning JavaScript is important. As I said before also that you are, if you're going to automate UI, user interface, browser, web application. So as a test engineer, you should be good on UI part, like how the elements are created, how it is calling some function in the background. So those things are done by actually JavaScript, right? So there are two kind of Java scripting. One is client-side scripting and another is server-side script. So server-side scripting is a bit sophisticated thing, which is generally developer does it, correct? Client-side scripting also is done by the developer or the programmer, but as a test engineer, we should know about at least client-side scripting, we should know one thing. I'll talk about what is client-side scripting, don't worry. And moreover, most of the new age automation tools, they have a very good, you know, what we can say support, or most of the test automation tool, right? They work with JavaScript. Right? There may be some tool which exclusively working with, let's say, a particular language, VB script or Java programming or C sharp, right? But I'm telling that most of the good tools, good automation tools, they work with JavaScript as well. Okay, so that's the beauty of JavaScript. Second thing is for your API testing framework also, or UI testing framework also, JavaScript is important. Sometimes even when you are working with Selenium with Java also, but in between you have to inject JavaScript. So for that part also, we should know JavaScript. So Java programming and JavaScript both are different things. Both are different programming language. Okay. So we are talking about JavaScript basics. You don't have to learn it in detail, but at least basic knowledge about syntax, how function works, how string method works. Those things you should know. So now your new goal is, last time I talked about CSS part, that invest at least 4 to 5 days on learning CSS and do some practical. Now JavaScript, invest around 10 days or the 10 hours to learn it minimum. I'm saying minimum. So our goal should be next 10 to 12 days, let's say, learn JavaScript. So I'm not going to take all the sessions about JavaScript and all. I'm here to guide you about how it works. Some of the examples I can talk, right? So here, JavaScript tutorial link is this. You guys should learn it chapter by chapter. Learn theoretically also, understand it, what is JavaScript and all. We will talk with respect to our assignment. We will do something here. Okay. I am going back to the W3 school's very first chapter, which says JavaScript is world's most popular programming language. JavaScript is the programming language of the web. JavaScript is easy to learn. This tutorial will teach you JavaScript. Fine, fine. So click me to display date and time. So this is a simple JavaScript program which you can inject in your HTML code. It's very much possible. This is a kind of sophisticated code which I'm not going to take as of now. Let's do it with our example so that things will be clear what we want to do. Okay, fine. But what I was saying is, yes, you should learn it from here, W3 schools, and chapter by chapter. If you'll go, there are a lot of interesting thing will come, and you will understand that okay, HTML and JavaScript work hand in hand. You can put your JavaScript code also inside the HTML file, which we are going to see now. So this is our assignment, let's say. As I said that it is asking us name, age, country, phone number, describe yourself. So let's take a very simple example that if I give a name here, let's say Nitesh. Okay. These are not all anything is mandatory field here. And if I click here, it should say me welcome Nitesh or welcome user, whatever is the name. How to do that? So let's understand that here you have to write client-side scripting as of now here. Okay, I was talking about client-side and JavaScript, server-side scripting, right? So for any website, let's say this is a website. Uh, let's open any other website. Let's say this erail.in. If I'll do right click and say view page source, you will be able to see some code here. And if you see here, it's saying script here, right? And there are some functions. This is JavaScript. This is not HTML code. This is basically a JavaScript code, which we can see, which a user who is opening the particular website in the browser, they're able to see this script. This is called client-side scripting, okay, which will work on your browser then and there. So this is exposed to us. There is no harm uh, for the e-rail, whatever this website is, their developers, that they don't worry about some of the scripts which they are showing us. That's fine. There are, see here, there are, see here, this is also a script, right? Don't worry about it. It's not very much difficult. Once I'll show you some example, you will get to know it's not that much difficult how we think. Okay, it's not difficult. Uh, so these are scripts. Now, what is server-side script then? Server-side script is which you are not able to see here. Maybe once you will click on this get trained, the request will go, right? So when you inspect it, so for example, let's say we will say inspect and we'll see the network. Okay, let's see that. So when you right click and say inspect, you will have this network tab, right? Or you can do F12. Most of the means all browser has this thing. Okay, and let me click on get train again. So now you will observe that there are a lot of network calls are happening. Okay, these calls. And somewhere you will see that there are script call is also happening, right? You may observe that there is JavaScript call also. So if I click on JS, you will be able to see that there are a lot of JavaScript call is also happening. Don't worry about that, what it is doing. Like, it is calling this particular JS, calling some function. But I just want to show you that this may be a server-side scripting, which is not visible to you. It's doing something, coming back, right? It's like this. There is server-side scripting. But in the view source, if you see, there are a lot of functions which is visible to you. There are a lot of script which is visible to you. This is client-side scripting. And generally for verification purpose, some of the validation is done on the client side itself. Okay. So for example, let me open the website so that things will be more clear what I'm saying. Uh, Let me open it in Firefox. It's not opening in my test.deadlift.in. Okay. Some issue. but it's fine. Okay, no problem. Any other website, any other, let's say, um, facebook.com. If we will open, uh, if I'll say create new account, let's say, and I will not provide the first name, right? And I'll click on sign up. So it is showing me a lot of things, right? What is your name? This is getting red and all, right? So this is happening because of maybe client side scripting as well, right? Why? This will disturb the server. It will not. So do you think that all this call, once if you are not feeling any value, let's assume, and you click on the sign up, do you think there is a server call is happening and the server side it is checking that whether you have filled the form, mobile number or not? No, no, no. It is checked at the client side itself, right? So that validation, at least small validation, is done on the client side scripting itself, right? So for example, let's say I'll put some name, test, mobile number I'll not put, let's say, some password I am putting, okay? And then age, I'm putting something, let's say male. And I'm not putting the mobile number, let's assume. And if I click on the sign up, see here, it is showing me that you will use this when you log in. That's why phone number is important, something like that. So this message is not coming from the server. This message is not coming from the server. This message is handled at the UI level itself, at client level itself. Okay. So that is what client side scripting is. And the same thing we want to do. So what I'm saying is when Nitesh or any name is here, if I click here, it should show me welcome user, something like that. So for that, you can write the script, and the script you can write on clicking on the submit. So what we will do, let's go back to the code, assignment.html. And if you remember, we have button, this one. At line number 24 here, we have button. What I'm going to do is, I'll say on click. So I'll say on click. What you have to do on click? So I'll say on click, call a function. And the function name is welcome. I'm just giving a random name, welcome. That's it. So I'm saying that whenever this button is called, on click, call this function. And when we are calling a function, it is like function name and the bracket. That's it. But then you have to define this function as well. Where you have to define? You have to define in script. Now, the question is where we will write the script. So for that, I'm taking the example where we had that first example, script. So script, you can write anywhere, but let me see some other example so that it will be clear where to write that script. So a script you can write inside the body. That's perfectly fine. And a script will start with the tag name script and end with the script itself. So let's go back to our code, and anywhere in the body, let's say at the end, before we end here, I will say script here. End tag, start tag is a script, and end tag also is script. Spelling is this, done. And in the script, now I can write my JavaScript code. So that function was welcome. So I'll say function welcome. Okay, that's it. And this is bracket. So in any programming language, right, or most of the programming language, when you want to define a function, you have to name the function, right? It's like this. So in JavaScript, it's like function and the function name and the bracket. Now you are defining what will happen when somebody will call that function, correct? So here I'm simply putting alert, and here I'll say hi. Hi, I am learning JS. Save this. So what now is going to happen is, we said that there is a button, this one, line number 24, and whenever this button will be clicked, which is submit button, on click, go to welcome, means go to call this function. So what it will search, where is the welcome function? So it will come here in the script, and it will now execute whatever you have written within this curly bracket. And what I have written, alert this. So alert is a function in JavaScript which creates the pop-up alert. Okay, let's see whether this is working. I'm going back to this. I'll refresh this, and I will directly clicking on the submit without doing anything. Just click on the submit. So when I'm clicking it, see here, this pop-up is coming, which is saying, hi, I'm learning JS. The same text which we put there, right? So this is what? Alert. Okay, fine. What happens when alert is there? You cannot do anything in the background. You cannot do anything in the background. You have to close this. There are a lot of different kind of alert. This is just one type of very basic alert, which is okay is there. You have to click it. It's like this. Anyways, so I'm able to print something. Great. I'm able to say something here. That means I can do something here, right? Or our next task is, if I put here John, I should be able to say, hi, John, something like this. Let's try that. Now the question is, this value can be anything. It's not hard-coded John. Whatever user will provide. Let's say if user will say Virat, so it should say hi, Virat. If I will say here, let's say any name. So if I'll say here Kevin, and if I'll hit submit, it should say hi, Kevin. Now the question is how to get this value. So there is one way. You have to identify this element first. That is important. You have to identify this text box. You have to identify this text box uniquely. So if I'll say here Nitesh, I can right click and I'll say inspect. Now I can inspect that element. Okay, I can inspect the element. How to inspect the element? There is one inspect icon. See here, this one. So you click here and I will go here. So in the elements tab, I'm able to see that the code behind this particular text box is input type is equals to text. Input type is equals to text. But you have to identify the element uniquely. You have to identify the element uniquely. In most of the cases, there must be some unique identification for that element. Okay, so let's see and give some unique identification. Here, input type is equals to text. I'll give an ID. ID is equals to uname. I'm giving this uname. Okay. And for the age, let's give some ID. ID is equals to UAge, which is like user age, something like that. And I'm not giving anything to other things. That's fine. Now, why this ID generally or this class, those things are put by the developers, right? See, there is no change in the UI. Even if I put ID or anything, user interface is still same. But they generally put these things, class, ID, other attributes, visible, readable, lot of things. They put it because they themselves want to get this value from the user at some point, correct? So now if I'll say Nitesh here and I'll inspect this, I'm able to see input type is equals to text, ID is equals to name, correct? I can go to console I will show you here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to I'm going here at console and I'll write document dot get element by ID. It will give you the option. And the ID name is uname. And if I hit enter, just a minute, document dot get element by ID uname. Hold on. This one. Hit enter. See here, it is able to get that particular text box because that text box has ID is equals to name. Now let me clear this. Oh, clear, you can do it from here also. Now I want to get the value of it. So I'll say dot value. I think this should work. See here, it is showing me Nitesh. That means the coder, the JavaScript code, whoever will write, or the full stack developers, this is just one of the example. They can get the value of this particular thing using this code document.getElementById. Document means HTML document. GetElementById means getting this text box through its unique identification with its ID, and dot value means we want to get the value. So whatever you will put it, let's say if I'll put here Johnny Walker, and if I'll again say here document.getElementById, see here I am getting Johnny Walker here. Correct. Let's do it with the age. So age I am putting 34, let's say. So here if I'll say get element by you age, and if I'll hit it, it's showing me 34. That means I'm able to get the value. So this is the console where you can write JavaScript code also. Okay, let me clear it. Let me close this. So in my code, in the script, the same thing I can write. I will say here, and you can store it in a variable. So in JavaScript, you can use var or let x. You can say let x also. Let username is equals to document.getElementById. Let me copy it. Let me copy so that there will be no, spelling mistake. So basically, I want to write this. So let me copy this. Yeah. And here I will write let username is equals to document dot get element by ID value. And I want to print it, right? So I'll say alert hi, and plus sign. I'll tell you why there is a plus sign, and username. Why we are doing it? So alert we want to show with a message like hi, but we want to append some value. The value will come from here. So we're saying let username is equals to this. So we have already seen document.getElementById. If you will you will get that text box. And when you say dot value, you will get the value which user has filled at that time for that session. And then we are saying alert, hi, that username. Let's save this and let's go back here. Let's refresh this. Let me close this also. And let's put a name. So this time, if I'll say a name as Anjum, okay. And if I click on submit, see here, it's saying hi Anjum. That means we are able to get the value, correct? And it's a successful thing. So if I'm able to get here, I will be able to set something here also. So there should be a label where I will say welcome. So let's see that. What we can do here is what I'm saying. After that button, let's create a label. Let's create a label. Okay, this button is done. What I'm saying, okay, this is under div. just after that, let's create a label or paragraph, anything you can. So I'm saying label ID is equals to message. Um, I don't know how it will look like. So I'll say welcome dot 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 and label closed. So let's see how it is looking as of now. See here, this welcome is visible. Let me say align is equals to center, and I'll refresh this. No. It's not like that, that if you will do it center, it will come on. Anyways, welcome we are able to see, right? Welcome we are able to see. Let me make it paragraph. P. P means paragraph. Save this. I'm just checking how it will look like. Yes, welcome is coming in the middle. Now it's fine. Okay. So that's good. But I want to show, if I'll say Nitesh here, it should show welcome Nitesh somewhere here, right? So for that also you have to write the code. So what we will do, we want to set the value of the paragraph, correct? So what we will do, same, go to the function level and say, now I want to set the value, right? I don't want to get the value. So can I say uh, P dot, no. You have to identify the element. That is for sure. First, you have to identify the element. So now I want to identify an element which is MSG, right? And I will say dot inner HTML. There is a way which you can say inner HTML. Just a minute. It's not showing me, but can I say dot value dot value is equals to hi? No, I don't think it will work. So what I'm saying is, if I'll refresh this, I'll put a name here. I'll say submit. It's not changing welcome part, right? So there is a way to set the paragraph. So let's Google it. There is no harm in Googling it. So Google, google.com. I'll say how to set paragraph value in HTML. So I think it is inner HTML. Okay. Yeah. So it's saying no. This one, DOM changing HTML. So changing HTML content is inner HTML. I was thinking about this. So this is dot inner HTML. That you have to set. I'm copying this. And in my code, I will say that instead of that, I'll say dot inner HTML is equals to welcome dot dot dot, same thing, plus username, this one, which the same thing we did something on the alert side, right? I'm saying this now. And is it semicolon required at the end? Yes, means end of the statement, done. Now if I will refresh this and I will say here Nitesh, I'll click on the submit. If I click on the OK, see here, I'm able to show here welcome Nitesh. And how simple it is. It is not difficult coding. It is just identifying that element, which was this message paragraph element, and say dot inner HTML. Why inner HTML? Because this paragraph has some text, right? Which is inner HTML thing. This text we are saying inner HTML. And setting that value instead of welcome dot dot, I want to set it as welcome dot 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 username, right? Or you can write it here, anything. Let me delete this alert part. So I'm commenting it. I'll say, hi, user. It's like this. Save this. And this time, if I'll do submit, it should say, okay, I have to refresh this. and I'll give any name, testology. And if I'll click on submit, it's saying hi user testology. So we are able to capture this name through the script.